So you are in a twin flame connection, and everybody's saying you have to do the work. You have to do the work, and that's the only way that you have a union with your twin flame. And to be fair, it is the first motivation when you know you're in a twin flame connection. Once you start your journey, then it might shift, and it might not be your primary goal in the same way, but it is the first motivation, right? Because when you meet them, we all know you have this amazing connection, and it's like nothing you ever experienced before, right? So now, what does it really mean to be in union with yourself, to feel whole, and to be connected to the divine, and to find everything within without anything outside? What does it really mean concretely on everyday life? How do you navigate a twin flame connection and still keep living your life, going to work and having interactions with, your social environment, etc. So, first thing that you have to know is, in order to find this union within, that what we call to find this wholeness within you, it's basically saying you have to collapse, transmute, and heal all the limiting beliefs that you have within you and mirrored in your counterpart. So it's basically a healing journey of all your limiting beliefs, right? Now, the main thing I'm going to focus today is what the karmics are, what we call the karmics within the dynamic of the twin flame connection. So the karmics, just to know right from the start, is they are the physical manifestation of one or more limiting beliefs that you have within you, but that you are not aware of. So if the whole work is to collapse all the limiting beliefs, right? Well, if the karmics are a physical manifestation of one or more of that, it means they are very, very important in your dynamic and in your journey, right? And I know it's very difficult to work with karmics. I mean, you have so many triggers, and it's very challenging, and depending on how many you have to work with, but they are there for a reason, because without them, some limiting beliefs, you won't be able to see them. You think you are aware of your limiting beliefs, but actually that's the whole point of a limiting belief. It's because they are lodged in your subconscious, and there is no way for you to know if it is a positive belief or a limiting belief until you have a trigger. And the trigger is an indication that you are actually taking an action or decision or living from a place of a limiting belief that you are not aware of. And some of them are very strong, some of them are a bit not as strong, they're milder, but it's still something that is misaligned. It's not a belief that is to your highest benefit, right? That is serving you the best. So you have to remember that. Okay, so what happens when you interact with a karmic? So a karmic that is in your dynamic and is in your twin flame journey. So the first thing that's going to happen is that you are going to have a massive trigger, and it's a trigger, and you're not going to understand why you have this trigger, because it's something that it's a limiting belief that you are not aware of, right? So you're going to have a very big trigger, you're going to have a very strong emotional response. That's a trigger, right? And some people say, well, it wasn't that strong, so maybe it's not a trigger. Any emotional response that is not from a place of neutrality, harmony, where you feel at peace, it is a trigger. So it can be very mild, but it is still a trigger, because you will feel either a bit of rejection or a bit of too much attachment to that. So usually it's one of the two. Okay, so first you have a very strong emotional response, but with the karmics it's very strong. Like, you don't understand why, it's very strong. Then you allow your human side, your human part of yourself, to feel the trigger. And you're gonna feel angry, you're gonna blame, you're gonna just focus on her and say, oh my God, she's so horrible, and I really don't like her, and why is he with her, and him, I mean, what's wrong with you, why are you going with somebody like this, and blah blah, and so you being the victim, and they are doing something to you. So that's the way you're gonna feel. You're gonna feel very victimized, and you're gonna feel like you're alone, and it's happening to you. So you allow yourself to feel that for as long as you need, and anything that comes out, and release it as much as you can. But then once you've done that, you can you can stay there if you want. But the thing is, in the long term, you won't be able to stay there forever, because it's so uncomfortable, and it's gonna keep being activated again and again and again until you look at it. So it's not gonna go away. You might take a detour, you might delay it, but you will have to look at it, right? So even it may take a few months before you have to look at it, really, but you will come back. So once you've done the whole trigger reaction and etc., just then take a step back and have this habit to flip it, to take away the intention from your karmic, take away the intention from your twin flame, and put it back onto yourself. And then ask yourself this question. It's like, what are they trying to show me? What is she trying to show me that I am not aware of, that is in me, that I need to go and see, and I need to go and heal? Okay, I know it's not easy thing to do, especially when you are under a trigger and all you feel is just pain and turmoil inside. And you all just want to walk away. You want to shut it down, and you're like, why? Why am I going to do this to myself? Well, you are doing this to yourself because you want to do the healing, because you don't want to feel like this. You don't want to be walking down the street or meeting somebody else and have this same trigger happen over and over again, because it's painful, right? It's because the trigger is activating a limiting belief that is attached to a core wound of yours that is completely locked inside your body, but at some point it causes pain, right? When the situation or the event presents itself, it's gonna cause you pain. So once you realize that there is something for you, that you accept that the karmic or this dynamic is trying to show you something about yourself that you are not aware of, then from whichever modality, healing modality that you have access to or that you are using, in my case I use hypnotherapy, so hypnosis, go and tap into another timeline or another past life where there is your karmic, your twin flame, and yourself. So the same freeway dynamic, and you have to go and see what limiting beliefs you have created from a situation, from an event where you responded from a place of aversion or from a place of attachment to an extreme, either way. And you have created a limiting belief from that now it's within you, that is being reactivated by the karmic walking into your dynamic for you to be able to see it and to heal. And also at some point your twin flame will have to do the same, right? The timing is slightly different, as we know.